Welcome, Leila. We have a brand new guest on the Pink Print podcast this week. We have Leila Ismailova, who is a previous TV host and now entrepreneur, creating a beautiful women-focused brand, which we're very excited to talk about. So, welcome.
Thank you, ladies, for having me here.
And thank you for coming. So, okay, let's start off a little bit. You're not from here. You moved here, and now you're starting this great company. Talk a little bit about your TV host career and how now you became an entrepreneur who's starting this amazing brand.
Hopefully amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, there are so many steps. When I just had an idea, I thought, this is it. This is brilliant. It's going to be successful. And then I go into details, and now I'm like, oh my God, there is so much more to do. Like, I have the most amazing samples, the most beautiful designs, the research and everything. But now you have to learn how to manufacture and build a whole logistical chain to scale it. And this is, for me, very hard because I've never done it before. But I'm up for a challenge because I really want to share this product with the world. But going back to your question, I'm an immigrant. I come from Belarus. I'm this crazy girl who left a career, left a family behind, and just came to America on my own. Because I guess I had this scary feeling at a certain point when I was still pretty young, and I felt like I've done everything I could in my professional path in my home country. And I remember I was in the studio and it was a live broadcast of the morning show, and we had this little break when you go, like, the ads start and you just sit and wait. And I had this feeling that this is what I'm gonna do until I retire. And I was like, oh my God, this is a scary thought. And then after that, a lot of things happened in my country that kind of almost made me go away. And I'm very grateful for this change because maybe I wouldn't dare to do it on my own. So I was pushed to make this change, and I came to Los Angeles, where I got my master's in communication.
Wow.
At USC. And
That's incredible.
Thank you.
That is amazing.
It's a great school, yeah.
I loved it. I enjoyed it. And I feel like the best part for me was that the whole culture of entrepreneurship in California is so big.
Yeah.
Like, they encourage you to speak up. They encourage you to test your ideas. They talk to you about lean startups and how to validate idea, how to raise capital, and all these important things.
Was that in school, or was that just sort of like the environment you
I
think?
feel like I started attracting things into my life. I was at Annenberg, but then I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I get to Marshall Business School? Because, this is where they actually studied it. But my curriculum allowed me to take a few classes at Marshall. So that's what I did. And I learned so much from people at business school. And this is, I guess, what made me think outside of the box. And I always gravitated through my work to solve some problems. And I realized that entrepreneurship may be ultimately the best way for me to actually pick the problem and try to solve it by creating a product. Or technology as a solution for this problem. So that's what I've been doing since then, exploring different paths. Fashion has always been a big part of my life too. When I got in TV industry, I did it because I wanted to wear beautiful dresses.
Really?
No, seriously. I was a little girl and I watched TV and I was like, I like these ladies on the red carpet.
Yeah.
They're so fabulous. Like, they're shiny and these dresses and gowns and diamonds, and I want to be the same.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I do it? Maybe I should become a TV host. Seriously, that was girl logic. That's
so funny. I was gonna ask, like, how did you get into, like, did you like to speak, or did you like to be on TV, or some people wanted to go down
dresses. I just wanted
That's
dresses.
so funny.
Then I found, of course, other joys, like, being public figure, having some influence, being able to help others through having this influence. This is also a huge blessing. But initially, dresses. So throughout my career, dresses would always pull me into, like, a fashion or near fashion industry.
So funny.
So my previous startup was in fashion tech. We did digital fashion. The company was called Artisan. I exited last year, but I've spent like 3 years doing it, and it was the most beautiful experience for me. And what drove me there was the fact that fashion is the second most polluting industry in the world.
Wow.
Majority of things that
What's
are
the first? Do you know?
Oil. Yeah.
Can you believe fashion is second?
That is
Fashion
crazy.
is the
From oil to
second.
fashion.
From oil to fashion, so beautiful on the outside, but the inside is the ugliest industry. If you're from using slave workers, child labor, to, using terrible chemical dyes that we put on sometimes and then that are being dumped into the rivers, and the amount of clothing that is being produced. Like, we live in a society of consumption, and I feel like that's something that we can consciously change, but it's not like someone should tell us. I feel like each individual should start thinking, how can I change it for myself? Because it's so hard. We have Amazon and platforms like that where you're like, with 2 clicks, you get something.
You get everything.
It's so gratifying. You feel empty, lonely. You just go somewhere and buy something to feel better. It's like one of the coping mechanisms, but it's actually very dangerous because companies produce more and then they dump it in landfills in third world countries, and there are like mountains and mountains of clothes that have never been worn.
So how do you handle this paradox as somebody who loves fashion and loves clothing and admires it, but also wants to put kind of a stop to the fashion pollution within our country? Because if you admire clothing, like I know I do, I'm like, oh my God, I need this new dress. I need this for this event. But I have a closet filled with beautiful clothing, but we somehow just can't stop. And like, it's hard as somebody who especially admires fashion. I think it's easier for someone who cares about it a little bit less to not be as consumeristic. But how do you think you personally handle that paradox between the two?
Well, there are a lot of tools. Like, I feel like I'm at a Kabbalah class now, talking about tools.
Well, that's the goal. We're trying to give people tools to better their lives.
Improve yeah, exactly. So one of the things that I do with our girlfriends, we have this group on WhatsApp called Miami Girls Who Really Work. I think that's the name. That's funny. Not every girl in Miami works.
That's so funny.
So it's a group of amazing women, and we do clothes swap every 6 months or so.
Wow,
First,
I love that.
it's an occasion. We get together at somebody's house. We drink wine and we chat.
Yeah.
And we also bring our clothes and we swap them. And let me tell you, a lot of women in this circle, they're quite well off. They don't need to
be swapping, right, or whatever.
Exactly, but this is a conscious choice once again to, instead of buying a new winter jacket, taking somebody else's. So that's one of the strategies where you can just share with friends. Donations is a great option. Then for items that are completely worn off, you could use the recycling companies. Now there are some tech companies, startup companies that create these platforms. It's easy to find them online, and you can just order a bag. They will ship you the bag, and you just send them your clothes, and then they will recycle and manufacture new fabrics.
Yeah. Is that like ThreadUp?
ThreadUp is one of them, yes.
Okay.
And also for me, it's buying a higher quality items. Because for me still, I would say before sustainability, I look at my own health selfishly. So I choose high quality natural materials, and normally they serve you better. And I feel like if you pay more for your item, you care for it more, right?
100%. We were talking about this the other day because I was in a full outfit, and I was wearing a sweater that I have had since 2017, which is 8 years ago, and it still looks perfect, and it is a higher quality item. But I told her, I'm like, you know what? I'm really happy that I am still wearing these things that I bought 8 years ago, and I'm sure I'll wear them in 2 more years, and that'll be 10 years. So I think it really does make a big difference, especially if it's one of those timeless pieces, as we've been using capsule wardrobe a lot right now. And I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and also looking at brands, there are some brands that already use recycled materials, so I want to support them with my dollars. Like Reformation, that I was going to say, what are your favorite brands I'm wearing today? I wasn't planning to bring it up, but yes.
Yes. What, I didn't even know that they did that.
Oh, their slogan is naked is the most sustainable solution.
We're the second.
Reformation is the second.
That's literally their branding.
I'm so happy I support them. I didn't even know. I love that.
I don't buy many things from there, but you do, even I know their branding.
Black Friday, I just bought so much stuff from there because it's true. I always reach for my Reformation items. I love them.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that they are rooted in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have any other examples of brands so we know and our listeners know?
Pangaea comes to my mind. They do a lot of recycled materials. I know that Zara started doing some.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, recycled collections. They just market the brand differently. You can pay attention to that.
So when you say recycled materials, is this old fabrics, or maybe they had clothes that didn't sell and they use them to make new clothes, or how does that work in the industry?
It's old stock of fabrics
their fabric.
Yes.
Okay, got it. That makes sense.
From a standpoint of health, recycle doesn't always mean healthy. So that's another thing that women should pay attention to, I think.
Okay.
Still, like, what is the material that you recycled, guys?
Right.
Right. So then you left the fashion tech company that you were working
Yeah.
at to then start this brand.
Well, I took a little vacation.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed myself. I did consulting for a couple of brands. I traveled to fashion weeks. I wrote for Decrypt. It's like a media platform in Web3, great media platform, and I was very lucky to write for them. I mentored at Vogue Singapore. They have like this in Asia. They have an ecosystem for fashion startups, and they support them. So that was amazing. And yeah, as I was doing all of that, I started like observing new things and new trends, and also I was traveling a lot. Last year I have been home in Miami, which is my home, I think, 4 months.
Wow.
Only. The rest of the year I was somewhere. So it kind of took a toll on my health. My hormonal system became a bit malfunctional. And for a very healthy person, it was a shock. Like for the first time in my life, I was like, something's not working. Why? So I started doing research. And I realized that only 4% of all the budget that goes into the health and wellness research goes towards women's health.
4%.
4%. And they started researching women's health only in the 90s.
Wow. So
I know. This is shocking.
30 years ago.
It's not even shocking to me because anytime I have some sort of issue with my body, there's no answer.
No one gets
anywhere.
it.
Right?
And you
Yeah.
even talk to a doctor, and then you really have to be your own advocate because a lot of the time they don't have an answer for you either. They say, try this, and you say, I already have. And they're like, well, like sometimes this is just the way it is. Like, that's not possible.
Oh, or like take this pill.
Oh, it's
Take
always
this
a
pill for the
pill.
rest of your life.
It's always a pill.
It's also
Yeah.
such a band-aid that never fixes anything.
Never,
the
yeah.
pill is very temporary.
Yeah, when it comes to women's health, we have to do our own research and double check and triple check everything the doctors tell us to do, especially when it comes to medications, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's same with surgeries, it's irreversible. You get on some medication and then your body needs it or it needs more of it. That's why we need to be very conscious. And that's like one of the, like in my home country, medical system works very differently. So when I came to America, like they have a pill for everything. And this is now how the rest of the world functions.
Is there a difference in the way that you see it in your home country to here? Like, is it healthier then?
I feel like back home we are healthier. I feel like back home we are more like Spartan in a way in the health, where everybody says like you build your immune system. Before you go to see the doctor, you try to like take honey and lemon when you have a cold.
Yeah.
Before you take some Advil or whatever people take when
Yeah.
Right.
when NyQuil, Dayquil, like people drink it here when they have colds,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I know. And I think even like it's just prominent right now, but even people that are like taking Ozempic now to lose weight, like why don't you try getting to the root of the problem and actually make a lifestyle change that will benefit you
Right.
for the rest of your life
Yeah.
rather than how you want to look at your best friend's wedding next week, you know?
God, don't
It's
get me
just-
started on the Ozempic. Yeah.
And I know people have really different opinions on this, but this is my opinion, and I
Yeah.
think that you're not rooting in a new lifestyle change that will actually benefit your health. Like you're focusing on an aesthetic, which you can achieve if you do make the lifestyle change, but you should be more focused on what's actually being put inside your body. And there's not even any research on this. Like as much research as I would like personally to be putting
Yeah.
something like this into my body. Not that I would, but I'm just saying in
Now
general.
they give it to kids with obesity too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's scary.
And it's of course only in America because of the way our food system is right now. And I'm hoping for a change these next couple years upcoming, but it's just outrageous
Yeah.
because in Europe that the food system is so different. And everyone is, like you go to Spain and there's like a fruteria, you go get your fruit there, then there's a place for vegetables, then there's a place for meat, and it's like everyone thinks it's so convenient that we have these big supermarkets with all processed everything.
Yeah.
And it's just not benefiting anybody's health.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the food tastes different.
It
There.
does.
Oh my gosh.
It has so much more flavor than here.
Exactly.
No, and it's like real and you have real nutrients. But to go back to what you were saying about 4% is research
4%.
and a little bit about the doctors, you really need to advocate for yourself here as a woman. You need to be like,
Oh my God,
this is what I
ladies,
feel.
yeah.
It's like I've had things where I've had to go to the doctor and they're like, no, it's just a back pain. I think you've just like pulled a muscle working out. I'm like, no. this is more. And in that case, like, to say whatever the truth, like, it was a UTI, but I felt pain here. I go, I know it's something more, and it's that, or it's becoming a kidney infection. But I feel like a man, sometimes it's like, if you've never been through that and you don't know, like, maybe you just, how can you help me if you don't really know? You're telling me it's a back pain, and it was, and it was a really bad infection, and it's like, if you don't advocate for yourself, they just dismiss
I'm
it,
sorry,
and they don't know.
And even
That's why, because 4% is still as much as they put into it.
They don't understand it.
women, especially with endometriosis, they can't even be diagnosed with endometriosis until they perform this last resort surgery, which endometriosis is common among many women. And it's a very important thing to know if you have, because you do have to have a different lifestyle, and not rooted in medication, but just in your diet, and the way you work out has to be a little bit more specific. And women will just think that they're bloated and they don't feel good. Meanwhile, they have this condition, exactly. And they won't know for so many years until you say, I want you to perform the surgery to see if I have it. And it's just,
how would a woman ever know that she needs this surgery, right?
Yeah.
So it's a vicious circle. No, yeah. And if we go into the labor and pregnancy, America has the rates of a third world country for, like, you know, deaths of kids,
right,
and side effects for women who carry babies. Yeah, so it's a huge topic, and I feel like, yes, we need a lot of change here, because this country is still #1 economy in the world, and clearly we have all the resources here. We're so lucky to make it better and to fix it. It's just, I feel like the default setting should be not how do we make more money off people, and how do we make them more dependent of the medical system. It's more, how do we make people healthy, which is the most reasonable thing for the medical system, right?
So can you tell us a little bit more about your brand? Because I feel like you are branching in to make a difference in this sector. So why underwear, first of all, is what we want to know. Why was this what came to your mind, and how come this was such a specific cause that you wanted to make a difference in?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of many, I think. But for me, it was underwear because, as I said last year, I had this hormonal change, and it really, really scared me because, like, as a woman, I suddenly gained some weight, and I was told that, like, at this moment, I cannot even get pregnant with these hormones, and that really scares you. It's like a wake-up call. So I started looking into all the different parts of my life, and I was like, okay, I need to sleep more, I need to work less, I need to stress less. There are a lot of things that I need to fix, truly. However, one of the things was that I learned that we consume so many toxins through clothes and underwear, and maybe because of that, my body started rejecting all the artificial materials. So I switched to, like, in clothes, I love silk now, but then the underwear, most of the underwear is made from artificial materials. Like, if you look at the majority of the brands, it's so hard to find high quality certified fabrics that do not use artificial dyes. And simultaneously, at the same time as I was, like, just reading into it and trying to find just, you know, panties that do not harm me.
Yeah.
Which should be simple.
Right. It should be the easiest thing to do. And that do not look as a, like, granny penny. Because I found a few brands and I ordered them, and they were like $40 for a pair of panties.
One?
Yeah.
Oh my
they don't look good. They're, like, big and saggy.
Oh my God.
It's not like, can we do better?
Yeah.
It's not like building a spaceship. It's just like a panty. Like,
like the most basic undergarment.
better engineering to, you know, like, to design it better. So, and simultaneously, there was this big news. Finally, there was, like, this big scandal in women's health and research. The products, hygiene products, as tampons, pads, and women's underwear, they were finally tested. Last year. And scientists found insane amounts of heavy metals in them.
Yeah.
So pretty much all the major brands on the market add heavy metals. For example, mercury, that disrupts our endocrine system. Mercury, yes.
Mercury is really bad for you.
Yes.
No, because it's.
I know, well, but it's sad. Yeah.
No, because my mom's been doing all of these, like, blood tests recently to see, like, how her levels are and to see what she could be eating, like, for her body, right? And she's like, I have mercury intoxication.
Where is it? Where did it come from? Well, now she knows.
And she's been I say that I'm like mercury because she's like, oh my God, I'm very I have a lot of mercury in my system, so I need to like get it out. And she's like, Gio, you should check it, because if you have mercury in your system, it can be a lot harder to get pregnant.
Yes.
So it's just like so funny that now you're mentioning that, and that
Well,
comes
I
from
hope it's
all
a
of these
sign.
products.
Wow.
I hope it's a sign for you to check it and change something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the tragic part is that most women, they don't think about it, right?
No,
we
we're just living our life. I don't
blindly
think we
trust that
yes.
this pinch is from Target or wherever, you
And
know.
the tampons too,
Tampons
which you're
too.
putting literally inside. Of you.
It's a direct access, underwear, pads, tampons, it all has direct access to women's body. So
It's such like a sensitive part of our bodies.
Yeah.
It's like the whole like feminine.
yeah, this is the
like,
center
area.
of our energy. Like, you know,
Yeah.
if we go into whole spiritual aspect, this is where like literally we represent the God's function on
Yeah.
earth by creating life, and this is where it's happening. It's so important to keep it clean and healthy.
Yeah.
Right, on every level. So that's another part that's been very upsetting, because it's like for the first time in the whole history of humankind, we face this issue that we have heavy metals and plastic in our wombs, and men have it in their testicles. So guys, also, you know,
Yeah.
check the underwear you're wearing. So yeah, that was shocking, because, as I said, a lot of women just don't think about it. There is no enough research about it. Why there is no research? Because maybe some companies don't want to fund it, or
Yeah.
ask researchers not to research it and focus on other topics. However it works, there is no enough information about it, and I feel like my mission is 50-50. Part is just create comfy, pretty underwear that women can enjoy every day, but also somehow raise awareness and explain that you have to pay attention to it. And I don't care if you buy my underwear or somebody else's brand, just make sure it's good for your body.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, because it's really just being conscious about everything that we're doing and everything we're putting into our bodies, what we're wearing, how we're choosing to live our lives. It's just like putting a little bit of consciousness behind it. Because some
Right.
people just, like you said, we just live life without even thinking about it.
If you think about it, our lives are so busy. We have relationships, we have works, we have dreams and hobbies, kids, dogs, parents, so many things to take care of. Why should we think about our health when we pay taxes and pay for the medical system, so that we don't have to think
Right.
about it, right?
Yeah.
Or our underwear that is supposed to be certified and be safe for us.
Yeah.
But we live in the world where we actually, at this point of our life, need to double and triple check everything.
It goes the same for like household products, you know, and laundry detergents. There's like a whole other world of all of that, but
Yeah.
it's like you need to be on top of everything to just live like
Yeah,
healthy.
for young women, contraception, I'm not sure we want to go into this topic, but that's like another very dangerous path, like, because some contraceptives are really, really bad, and a woman really need to do her own research to see all potential side effects for joints, for the reproductive system, etc., when she chooses to take them.
That's like crazy, because here's the thing, like no one ever teaches you any of this. And your doctors aren't teaching you this either.
They just offer it
doctors
to
have
you.
10 minutes max in the room, in and out. Then it's the nurse, and then you pay for your visit, and you spend more time waiting in the waiting room than you do with the actual doctor, and no one's telling you what you should be looking out for.
They just tell you, do it. Yes, you're a young woman, use contraception, it's good for you, do it. They don't tell you side effects. Why? I really
I've been
don't know.
on contraceptives for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
That's a long time. And I say this because I think a lot of women have too. And
Yeah.
now that we're talking about it, I'm like, it's a little concerning that it's been this long. What are the effects on my body?
Yeah,
I
no.
know, and I think about it.
Yeah.
And I have to like look into it. But a lot of people just stay and
Yeah, I mean,
It's
and
convenient.
it's convenient, and also I've seen personally like how many things it's done to my body, and I am on the birth control pill right now, and I have been for
Yes.
years, but the reason I got on it is because my period was so bad, and I went to the doctor, and they're like, oh, just take birth control to get better when you start taking this. I was 18 when they told me to do
Right.
this. So I'm like, okay, great, whatever. And it worked. So I'm like, okay, great, this is working. And then you get older and your body changes, and you have to switch your pill because your body's not reacting the same way anymore. And then like you have other side effects. You get acne, you get weight gain, you get this, you get that. And then you're constantly changing your pill to see which one works. And it's like, well, if this pill is doing this to me, like what are the other ones doing to me? And then you don't have an answer. And it's like all trial and error, but you would think that the doctor like could have a better solution for you, or know which one your body would react to best, like given our technology now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to blame the doctors entirely, because I am
No, they just
grateful.
follow the algorithm that they were given.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But
I wish they would think more for themselves.
Yes, I think that's another thing.
Yeah, and take more responsibility for their very big and noble mission in the society, as
Yeah.
opposed to being afraid for being exiled from the doctors' community for
That's what's crazy.
having an alternative opinion. This is crazy. I come from a little bit. Some people say Belarus, my home country, is dictatorial because we have one line of communication. It's you have to agree with the government. If you don't, you leave. Which is not terrible. But when I came to America, I thought this is the country of freedom of speech.
Right.
But then in so many instances, I see that sometimes in a different way, but people are scared of saying the truth because they're afraid to lose their job, for being judged, like a lot of different reasons.
So it's like in some ways you don't really have the freedom to say
I
whatever
think,
you want because it's like you're gonna be, like you said, exiled. We interviewed a naturopathic
medical student.
yeah, and she was saying the same thing just about the doctors, how it's like they just don't really have the full freedom to do like what they actually really believe in because they have the whole
They have a
hospital and then
protocol,
insurance
yeah.
and they have like this whole other world where it's just sometimes they're limited.
Yeah, or
Absolutely.
they run a private practice, but then for the consumer, it's like $500 per test.
And it's
so
way
it's
too
either
expensive.
you pay for essentially what is worth the money, but not everyone has access to be doing that all the time, or you go through insurance and then the doctor has to prescribe you something so that the insurance goes through, and
It's just like a crazy world.
yeah.
There is a lot that
Yeah.
needs to be fixed. It's just like it feels like a bad dream that we're like gradually waking up from.
Yeah.
And as you said, like I also hope that in the next few years some things will be changed, and then in the next, it's not a job for 4 years. I feel like it's a little bit longer than that.
Oh, of course.
We will
Yeah.
continue working on it, and I'm not like a huge outlier. I don't have this crazy energy to, be a revolutionary, but I want to make my humble input by at least providing women with this option of having this underwear. So I hope I will make it work.
Yes.
Yes.
So we were reading about your brand, Luna Leila, and how it said it embodies practical feminism, and we wanted to know what this means to you and how you plan to root it in your brand.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't come up with the term practical feminism. I borrowed it from my role model.
Okay, beautiful.
Miuccia Prada.
I love that.
I like Miu Miu a
Yes.
lot. I like Prada, but I like Miu Miu, I think, even more. Both brands are great, and I really like this woman. Like the way she built her life and where she put her focus. I think it's so important to direct your energy, because this is where, we generate success and growth, where we direct our energy.
Yeah.
And she was so picky and selective for where she put her energy. And I really admire the two brands that she built and how she handles the business line as well. I really hope, I'll learn something and integrate it into my business too. And everything she creates, her designs are very comfortable. That's like one thing about Miu Miu and Prada. Like shoes are comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, shorts, skirts, everything. It just feels good wearing it and it's comfortable. So she pretty much explains that a woman lives a life of of many roles.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that men don't do. Men are straight line.
Yeah.
Women are, I don't know, a waterfall, a mountain river. We just flow into so
Yeah.
many different
Yes.
places, changing
do.
directions, changing the flow. Yeah, so a woman goes to work, she picks up kids, she goes to grocery store, she cooks, she sees her friends. It's like so many things. Plus, sometimes we feel great, sometimes we feel down when we have ovulation. It's so many things have to be factored into the equation of how do you build these clothes and designs. And for me, this is like a practical feminism when we think about all the roles that we play today, not in the future. It's not even about the sustainability for me, first and foremost, about how to make a woman feel good in her body. And for me, it has two elements. One is biological. That's what we already covered, right? A woman needs to be healthy, and this is not okay by all means when underwear contains heavy metals like mercury or disruptive chemicals or polyester that creates greenhouse effect down there, and you pretty much create the breeding ground for bacteria and allow them to grow and like boost the infections.
Yeah.
Right? Like yeast infection is like almost 100% of women have yeast infection these days. Yes. So that's all scary. So that's like one of parts for me, of two parts of the brand. And the second part of the brand is that women strive to be beautiful, strive to be sexy. And for us, it's also a part of our emotional and mental health. So I want my underwear to also look very beautiful and nice, so that when the woman looks at herself in the mirror, or she's changing in the changing room at her gym, or she's with her partner, she feels great.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I love that. It's a great mix of both the practicality and then bringing some beauty into it. It's so funny how it's like, okay, underwear, you know, but you're saying how all these things, it's like so taboo, like 100%, almost 100% have, you know, infections. Like no one talks about it, and no one talks about fixing it on a practical level. And if so many people are dealing with this, but like no one says anything.
Yeah.
Because it's such like a private
Yeah.
area or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like there's not really an alternative, because okay, if you don't wear underwear, then just the clothes on your body that are also probably containing the same not clean materials are also entering you. So what are you supposed to do?
Well, you just have to be more conscious. As I said, we need to fix the system, because I feel like we went too far. There was like this beautiful golden era in America where people trusted government, where people trusted businesses, whatever was brought, you know, in the stores were high quality products. But then maybe it's a side effect of capitalism, you know, where, you know, we took this idea of like pushing the bottom line for the businesses, of making more and more money. How do we make more money? It eventually brings us to the point where the quality of the items goes down, where we start thinking, okay, maybe if we make people feel more insecure about themselves, they will do more plastic surgeries or injections or take Ozempic, for example, because we'll just put this idea that a beautiful woman is supposed to be skinny. Although for thousands of years, you know, women had curvy bodies, and that was also absolutely fine, right?
Yeah.
If you go to the museums and see like majority of art, even at Met Museum, it's like women, naked women, beautiful, gorgeous women, hotties, but like you don't see women with this like, you know, cheekbones and this like poofy lips. And
It's true.
you know, all of it natural. They're like gorgeous, but they're natural, and they have a bit of cellulite here and there, and some, you know, rolls and whatever else they had, and it was absolutely fine because that was natural, and the woman was healthy. So I really think that we need to like go back to communication, like what you do. It's very important because you try to communicate to women these alternative ideas. I have a friend who works for Mira Care, which is like an amazing device for women that tests their hormones at home and is very precise and helps so many women to get pregnant.
Wow.
Yes, because some women, you know, go to their last resort, which is like IVF.
Yeah.
But it's so expensive and it's also very intrusive. So they say like before we go to IVF, we try Mira Care and we get pregnant naturally.
Wow.
Yes. And you know, people who work at like products like Flow, which helps women to track their menstrual cycle and kind of understand better where their body is. Like today you're moody, it's okay. You can be a little bit mad. Today you have to take rest. Things like that. It really helps women to stay like in touch with their inner selves. And what you do as well is so important, to just like educate women, talk about it, because as we know, only 4% of research is about women's health. Why? We don't know, but I feel like it's time to change it.
100%. It's crazy how it's like at the end of the day, it's like we just need to simplify and be a little more natural, and everyone's just trying to like do more and more. That's like really not natural, and then it leads to other things that you're just like, why? Just be more
literally,
simple.
sometimes it's as simple as start sleeping more.
That's huge.
You know, remove alcohol, like drink less, and your body will instantly feel better. Remove stress from your life, because today, women, sometimes I feel like we try to handle a little bit too much.
We do.
And we enter the professional world and we try to act like men, which is very unnatural. We become very safe.
It's a huge thing,
Try to communicate as men, and it leads us to hormonal disbalances. So sometimes we can, before we go to doctors, take hormones, take whatever they tell us to do, we can just change very simple things.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because it's not even your first instinct to be like, oh, I need to sleep more. I need to stress less. And I know for myself, I started working with a trainer because I wanted to just build more muscle, feel stronger for longevity for when I have kids, when I have grandkids. And I'm like, okay, so what should I be eating? How much should I be working out every day? What about 10,000 steps a day? All these questions. And she goes, I don't even want to talk about that right now. All I want you to do is sleep more and try to be more calm and less stressed throughout the day. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how is that going to do anything? And she goes, and 3 months later, I'm like, okay, so how are you doing? How's my stress? How's my sleep? She goes, we're still not there yet. Like, I can tell. She's like, you still need to focus on sleep. You still need to focus on being less stressed. And I'm like, okay. Like, and it's just so hard, and it's not everybody's first instinct these days. And I, of course, think that social media plays a big role into this.
Everything is so high paced. They teach us you have to have a lot of meetings a day. You have to be busy. You have to have a job. You have to be this. You have to achieve more. You have to make more. Why? Maybe if you make less, but you have peace of mind, you will have a much better life than someone who's chasing million quality of life, million after. How many millions do you need to be happy? You know, but they. Like the culture is like rush, prove yourself, go to all these events. Like I fall victim to that. Even like, you know, Art Basel Week, for example. Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to see the art. And then I end up, you know, being out from 9 a.m. to 3. Yes, because I couldn't miss this party. I had to be somewhere. And this is not a healthy pattern for women. This year I spent a month in India.
Wow.
Even a little bit more, studying Ayurveda and harmonizing my
I love that.
hormonal system, because I was like, once again, I don't want to take hormones. Like, so I went to traditional medicine where they treat conditions with food and relaxation and meditations and things like that. And for the first week, literally people were running after me at this retreat and were like, slow down. Relax. And I was like, I need to take this call. Where's the treadmill? I need to work out. They were like, relax. You don't have to work out. You don't need a treadmill. You have to lay down. Take a nap. And they were like explaining it. They were said, a woman cannot be healthy if she's not calm. This is like pretty much the essence of Ayurveda. If the woman is not calm, she cannot be healthy.
But it's impossible. It's
in
like,
our society,
you want to get 10,000 steps a day, take your calls on a walk and go here. And like, it's just all
And then you have to post for social media and look good and dress up for the dinner at night because, you know, every restaurant here is so fancy and everybody's looking at you. So it's like, it's a nonstop, and you have to work out when? Before work?
5 a.m. And then you sacrifice your sleep, and then you do it all over again the next day.
And if you don't, you're not hustling. You're not working hard enough. You should be waking up earlier.
Oh my God.
The first one to wake up, the last one to go to bed.
Actually, it brings me, like, I want to ask you, what do you think about soft girl era? It's like
soft girl era?
Yeah, it's like this new trend when boyfriends or husbands give salary to women, right? Salary. Yes. I mean, pretty much a woman chooses not to work because it's too much stress, and they just stay at home. They do some things around house, but they also like go out. They do workouts and things like that. But their man is supporting them because some women started realizing that like they're going crazy. They don't live their life. They just
salary.
I mean, not.
We were thinking salary.
I'm thinking salary on like 0 calories. They want you to have 0 calories. That's what they're making.
Sorry. Yes, no, your English is amazing.
It happens from time to time.
We were both like, salary.
I'm like, they want to see
salary.
nothing.
Salary. Okay, we're talking about salary, like money.
Yes, money.
Yes.
To like, live a life instead of chasing career.
To be honest, I have nothing against people who want to do that or whatever path they choose, but this is sort of like how my grandparents' generation, like the baby boomers, they're still like that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like very close that women were still like that. Mm-hmm. And didn't work, and I see it with them like they were. My grandma, right? She stayed home. She raised my mom and her siblings, and that's what she did. And the dad worked, and that's how it was. And I feel like that's how it was until recently. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, you know, women want to have the same rights to go out and work, and I think that's really great too. I think you need to see what works best for you, because I see some flaws in when women are too dependent on a man, you know, and it's like you see so many of these people, and I think, you know, my grandparents' generation, let's say the baby boomer generation, it's like it's great. They spend a lot of time at home and they raise their kids and they had all of that, but then they're stuck in relationships that are not necessarily maybe the healthiest, and they've never worked a day in their life and they don't know how to support themselves, and therefore they can never get out of it, and then they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like in that sense, it's not good because then you can get a little stuck. But then some people, you know, they want to work and be independent, and maybe you take it too far. Like you were saying, it really does. Then I see my mom, it's like takes away too much of the feminist, you know, and then it's like too much masculine energy.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be a balance. Maybe you can stay home and not work and raise the kids and be in your soft girl era, but like always still be, you know, smart and read and research and make sure that like you have, not like your exit strategy, but like sort of like know
Yeah.
what
Your
you gotta
options,
do. And if it doesn't work out because this guy is paying for everything, it's like, are you gonna be okay? Like, do you know what to do? Like maybe... Do you have a savings? You know, not to be completely dependent.
And
I say
bags do not count as savings, ladies.
no. Yeah. And I'm saying this coming from, you know, I see that, and I see my mom who was divorced. So it's like, really, if you depend on a man, like, what do you do? So I think that there needs to be a balance of both.
I think there is a fine line between this, and I think at the end of the day, the woman has to decide what she wants for herself and her
Absolutely.
future and what's her calling. I come from a family, I'm Latin, and I don't want to generalize, but most of the time the women in Latin relationships, like they take care of the kids, they don't usually work, and they let the man work and do all of the hard things. You know, not that raising a family is easy.
Oh my God, I feel like raising kids is much harder than going to work.
And I remember when I was little, I would tell my mom, like, you don't even do anything. You don't even work. Blah, blah. Horrible. I don't know why. It's terrible. I regret every second of that. And she did work her whole life, by the way, before having us at 30 and 34, not even like so young.
Mom at home when we're little, we have no idea what their life was before us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she was in like pharmaceutical sales, killing it as an only woman doing that at the time. Anyway, so I come from a family where my mom decided to not work anymore and raise me and my brother, and my aunt, her sister, doing the same. And I see such value in that as well. I'm so grateful to have grown up with a mom and an aunt who really decided to like take care of us and nurture us and make us their sole focus. And I think that all the kids in our family like have been raised to be really, really great people and great communicators. And we all really want to work, and we're all very driven. So I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer.
I agree.
I think, of course, there's pros and cons to each of it, but if you feel like you're in a beautiful relationship and you don't think that you're going to need an exit strategy, of course, we'll never know. But when the time comes, like, I think a woman is strong enough and smart enough to know what she has to do to be okay. So I think that if you're in a beautiful marriage and you have children, you shouldn't have to be thinking like, well, do I need a job because what if this doesn't work out at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it is beautiful to let the man take control sometimes and go do that because he should.
Yeah. You know, it's even very Kabbalistic.
Yeah.
Like, you know, about my teacher, David Guillaume from LA.
Oh, we love it.
Yes, we want to have him on.
We're trying. He's like, get through my assist.
He's like, get my assistant. I'm like, okay, I'll get through it one day.
Let's send a message to David Guillaume and invite him to this amazing podcast.
We'll tag him in this.
Let's do that. I was very lucky to take his class in person. He's the incredibly bright teacher, and once he compared a man to the sun who gives the light to the world. Because of the energy of the sun, we all can live, and a woman is the moon. You probably know that, hence Luna.
I was going to ask if Luna had any
connection to the moon.
I love this.
Yes.
And the moon, in order to function, needs to reflect the light of the sun.
Yeah.
So it's very important that a man is always a giving element of their relationship, and a woman is receiving his energy and turns it into the most beautiful things. Like she takes a seed and creates life.
Yeah.
She takes, you know, groceries and creates food. She creates
So beautiful.
This is
from a
so
house.
beautiful.
I know, it's a credit to David, not me.
Yeah.
But you understand, so there
Turns
is
a
this,
house into a home.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is this beautiful dynamic and roles that were given us naturally especially to a man, to a woman. Men were always more prone to go out into this world, you know, be conquerors. They were more curious, and women have always been more curious, nurturing and caring. Like, you know, they express themselves by providing care for others. So I really like that now that the pendulum kind of like went back into this direction where we remind ourselves about this role. Of course, I feel like we were a little bit too far, like, you know, this boomer era when women had no option to go to work. And if they went to work, they were treated like, you know, second class.
Of course.
My grandpa didn't give my grandma an option. He's like, if you're with me, you're not working, period.
Exactly.
That's, you know, it's different when you're making a choice.
Yes.
You're
And
choosing.
I know for a fact that in America, doctors would give husbands tranquilizers, like really strong antidepressants.
Like
that,
Quaaludes or something.
that they were allowed to give to their wives. And the wives were like, you know, asking questions, complaining about life too much.
Crazy.
And that's worse than violence. That's like, you know, when someone is violent to you, at least you have a chance to like slap
Fight
them
back.
back. Or like run away. And here just like they kill your consciousness with this meds. So that was terrible. But I feel like, you know, we went in this direction when things got also out of control. So I hope there is like this middle for our
This
soft girl
balance.
era where we will be like, we have
Yeah.
the option. It is okay to have support from our partner because women give back in so many other ways.
Absolutely.
So I really like that we start talking about it, not taking it too far because like giving salary, it sounds a little bit vulgar to me.
Yeah.
Like, my guy friend, he's a very smart guy from LA. I really like him. He said like, now when I want to date a girl and I go out a few times, I actually ask her, do you want a salary if we like go further? And I was like, dude, this is so rude. He's like, no, that's okay these days.
Really?
That's wild. Wow.
I know. I'm out of dating life, but it sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy.
Sounds a little bit like a sugar baby.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like being normalized these days. So like there is
Really?
like this middle where a man knows when to support a woman, how to support a woman, whether it's her professional field or something else, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be like defined as
A salary. It's like, just give me your card on Apple Pay and I'll use it whenever I want.
give me your right.
I mean, that's how I would think of it. Like, instead of you giving me a monthly budget, it's just like, I'll take care of you and you'll, like
It
you said,
becomes
I'm the sun, you're the
transactional.
moon. Yeah.
Exactly. The sun and moon, it sounds so much better.
It's much better.
So much. It was funny because yesterday we went. There was a Kabbalah class, like an astrology, Kabbalistic astrology class,
Oh, nice.
and he was talking about the sign Cancer because I'm a Cancer in the Gregorian, and Cancer is ruled by the moon. So I'm saying it because it relates. But he was like, you know, the beautiful things about Cancer, which I'm saying the moon and women, is like you guys have the ability to just nurture something and love it into like becoming this like beautiful thing. And so back to Luna and women, it's like we really do have that really great ability. Even when you were here, like, oh, the water, the chair, the pillow, like women have this beautiful ability of making places feel safe and cozy that men don't necessarily have so naturally. So we have like, you know, this just beautiful thing
and
to
there's
us.
this beautiful dynamic when, you know, a man sees this comfort and beauty and coziness, this energy. Another thing that David Guion once said about, he loves talking about relationships, man, and he's good at it.
He's good at everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, right.
I literally just want to talk to him every single day. I'm like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
That men feels joy and happiness through his woman. Like, you know, a
I
man is
believe
like, the new car, yay, you know, new house. And women are like, oh my God, we love this, we love that. We're excited, we're happy. We have
Yeah.
like this energy of joy in their lives.
Yeah.
So it also like by us allowing them to express certain level of care for us, we allow them to grow and to experience this joy
Themselves.
that motivates them to be better, to
Yeah.
grow. That's like one of the biggest issues in our society today is that men don't want to go study. They don't want to look good because they're like, well, you know, there are dating apps. I can just swipe left and right and somebody, you know, will reply. I don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like bringing this courtesy and saying like, no, you have to try a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to impress me a little bit. I feel like it's a very beautiful thing for men
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for women. And that allows us to feel some level of trust and security
Yeah.
in our lives while we can work, while we can create all the great things for the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So on the topic of David Guillaume and Kabbalah, how
He's blushing right now. We talk so much about him.
he's so lucky we're talking about him. How has Kabbalah just impacted your personal life and the way you wanted to create and start this business?
Kabbalah impacted a lot of things in my life. When I moved to America, as I said earlier, I moved by myself. It was a very abrupt decision. Like, I left my country, I picked LA because I thought, TV industry, movies, I had no idea that like nobody would care about me and that my English was so bad that like, half of the words I said were wrong. But I was like, I'll go, somebody will notice me, somebody like, so
That's the right attitude.
Wait, that's so like, it's naive, but it's like beautiful.
I would never do that. But back then I was naive enough to actually do that.
Yeah, but it's, what brought you here?
Yeah, and I remember it was very challenging time of my life because, as an immigrant, you were somebody at home. Like, I was a TV host. I was the best graduate of the School of Journalism. Like, I had certain status. People knew me in certain way. I had a family that supported me too. And I came to America and people don't understand me. I don't know how the system works. I don't know how to cross the street, how to create a bank account. Like, everything is so different. And I felt so low. And I didn't know where to go, what to do. And my friend told me about the Kabbalah Center. And I went there. My first teacher was Yehuda Ashkenazi. And I remember at the class too, he said, like, you don't have to pick a spiritual path in this lifetime, but you can choose it consciously. But just keep in mind that it's not going to be easy. Spiritual growth happens through challenges, happens through pain. And he asked this question in the class, do you want to pick this path for yourself? And although it was like time-wise, it was like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, I remember I chose for myself, I want to step on the path of spiritual growth. And I knew that was an important decision, although it was very quick. And since then, a lot of things changed. Since then, I feel like I became very responsible for the things that happen in my life. Of course, there are still a lot of unconscious moments that when, I just,
It's a constant
growth.
work,
This level of you break through one glass ceiling.
There's
You
another one
enjoy
right
for
there.
a moment,
Yeah.
and voila, there is another one.
Yeah.
So it's like non-stop process. But definitely, Kabbalah brought a lot of understanding. I was raised in the Russian Orthodox Church tradition. My father was Muslim, so I would always connect to these traditional religions. And what I really liked about Kabbalah is that they translated the ancient wisdom into modern day language, and they completely removed judgment from their relationship with the students. They just don't judge you if they catch you with a cigarette. They don't judge you if you like say something crazy.
Yeah.
They meet you where you are at your level of personal growth.
Yeah.
And that was very new for me because like when I went to church and tried to talk to a priest, sometimes they're like, I built this technology. They were like, technology is bad. Like, you don't do that. And at Kabbalah Center, I felt like they accepted me. And that allowed me to open up and to be more honest with them. And that they gave me a lot of tools that allowed me to get into the grad school, find a boyfriend.
Wow.
Like, I started building my life in the right direction, gave me confidence that, as long as I serve the light and I am the light and I am a part of this one conscious big soul connected to God, I'll be okay. And I just should trust the process. I like this exercise that one of the Kabbalists practice where he would just like, without money and everything, just wander the streets and he would know that he'll be okay. That somebody will feed him, that somebody will support him, and somehow his life would work out. So in the essence, I feel like we are all wandering our lives like that, and this like level of trust that I learn and gain every day because it's up and down still is very, very important. And I will never I can't thank Kabbalah enough for giving these powerful tools.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Is there a specific principle or a specific tool that you use every day when you find yourself in a pickle or in a challenge, specifically with business or creating your business?
Trust the process. Always. The process is as important as the result, maybe more.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah. I realized that in life experiences, I know when someday, I'll be ready to pass to the next level, I'll look back and I will appreciate the moments when, even when I was heartbroken, even when I was sad. There is beauty in every emotion. So as a human, I want to experience all of it. Of course, it's pause. What a pleasure. I'm a Leo. Like, I'm a ruler, you know, I know what's right, and don't you dare disagree with me. I'll execute you. That's my nature. So, you know, pause, what a pleasure.
Pause, what a pleasure. It's like 101, but it's like the most basic, but the best one.
It's the best one. Like, when I send emails, I was like, don't hit send. Wait, reread, take a break.
Yeah, rewrite it. Yeah.
Like, come back to it, reread it again and see, like, do you really want to send it like that?
Yeah.
Change the tone. And I realized it's like really helped me to build more stable relationships in business and achieve my goals, because everybody is different. And even if you're the nicest person, you will still have people who disagree with you.
Yeah.
So it's so important to like be able to communicate well. And when challenges come, I say, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Try harder.
Try harder. You're like, all right. You got nothing on me.
I love that. I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to women who are looking to start their own business or brand if they think like, well, I don't have experience in this, so I can't go into that, or any of those, you know, negative thoughts we tell ourselves when trying to achieve something?
Like, how can I start an underwear brand? I have no idea about underwear, how to manufacture. Like you said, it's research process. It's a lot.
Well, I feel like one of the things that our society also stimulates, and I disagree with, is just like this concept of overnight success, which is a complete lie. It's never the truth. Like Zuckerberg, he wasn't an overnight success.
No.
Okay, nobody is. It's always like a long journey of preparation for what you build, personal growth, educational experience. So I would recommend all the people who want to do something is to remove this notion that success should happen fast. Businesses are built throughout the years. And as I said, as India taught me this year, being calm for a woman is crucial for our health, because we are not here for a sprint. We live a marathon. We want to live a wholesome, long, fulfilling life. We don't want to burn out in 2 years of struggling.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the point, never quit your job, or never like lose another income until your business becomes profitable and you can pay yourself salary.
The key word of this episode.
I know, I like this word today, because I know a lot of people who would be like, I'm gonna chase my dream.
Yeah.
I quit my job and I'm gonna build this company, or I'm gonna become an actor, or or do something else. And they take loans, they moved into a tiny crappy apartment, they spend their last savings, they eat unhealthy food. They are scared because they're not sure they're going to be able to pay their bills next month. And normally when you're in this fight or flight survival mode, you're not very creatively productive. And business is like, for me, it's creativity. Like every day you make decisions, every day you build something new that haven't existed before. So I would say that's another great tool to have to keep your job until you become profitable, and at least have like, I don't know, 12 months of savings so that you feel relaxed doing it. Don't take loans too early, like bank loans. Don't give away too much equity, because you give away control over your business, which will backfire eventually in most cases. Be humble.
Yeah.
And if you want to build something in the industry that you don't know, go work for somebody else, because you will learn so much more from these people. And maybe at a certain point you'll be like, well, maybe my idea is not as unique, or maybe my idea won't work, or maybe you will be like, oh my God, I really need to do that because it doesn't exist, but now I know how to build it. I know infrastructure, I know ins and outs, etc. Also, it's very rare that we have solo entrepreneurs building great companies. Finding strong co-founders and building a strong team is the key. So I would recommend for people to always finding people with complementing expertise, finding these people and making them their partners when they start something.
Do you have a partner for Luna Leila?
I do. My co-founder, Dan, he has a brand of underwear already. He's been doing it for 8 years.
Wow.
And he's been like doing consumer packaged goods for like 14 years now. Yeah, his brand is doing really, really well. And he understands the industry. He understands how to build the whole supply chain, logistics, which is, you know, a lot of work, to be honest. I remember Elon Musk saying like the easiest part to was actually building a car, like building a Tesla, creating this unique, innovative car.
Yeah.
What is hard is like manufacturing at scale and delivering to people for a reasonable cost.
Yeah.
This is really hard. So although I don't want to compare myself to Elon and what he does, but there is some truth to that.
Yeah.
Creating beautiful prototypes, like picking nice fabric, it's fun, it's interesting.
Of course.
Yes.
You know, you play with it, but then like how do you manufacture it so that your panty doesn't cost like $100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but you still like stick to your ideas and ethos of like providing the highest quality underwear. This is a real challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your advice to finding a good business partner? Because sometimes it's hard to find someone that you can trust. And how do you know that this is actually a good person if you haven't worked with them before? What are you looking for in a partner?
Yeah, well, it's like marriage. It's like literally
Yeah.
finding, you know, your partner in life.
Yep.
Here in the big brand.
You're very lucky you have found each other. So there's definitely, you know, an element of destiny when you meet your partner in crime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes it's, you know, high school friends, college friends.
Yeah.
It happens in a lot of different ways. But here, like, I will give the advice from Sarah Blakely. You hire slow and you fire
Yeah.
fast. So I would definitely, I have a couple of other co-founders in my brand who have smaller equity, and I would, you know, have the idea, oh, this person could be on the team, but I like a stalker, observe them. Like I would ask them out for brunch, for coffee, ask them questions. I would see what kind of people they are. I think that working with good people with less qualifications is better than working with terrible person who has some genius
Yeah.
qualifications,
Yeah.
because this person will always bring this toxic energy
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the company. So I would observe them, and then like in 6 months I'll be like, well, let's talk.
Yes.
What do you think about the idea of us working together?
Yeah.
And at this point, we build a relationship, we build a connection. The
Yeah.
person knows about the brand and what I stand for, because organically, I would always like tell the story or two
course.
about what I'm trying to do. So I would definitely say spend a lot of time with this person, observe them in different situations, professional, but not only professional, also like personal qualities, because you don't
Yeah.
want to be fighting with people
Right.
you work with. Yeah.
I have another question because I think it's like gonna put a bow on this episode and a good tool. But when you were in India, do you have maybe like a few tips or 3 tips to give women on how they can slow down in their day-to-day to like make a bigger difference in their life?
Well, one, for me, it's a no-brainer. I already did it. It's remove all the noise, which is a completely not useful and doesn't serve us well these days, which is social media. Like how, on quality level, how your life would change if you remove social media.
But how do you remove the noise while trying to build a brand?
Well, you can hire people who help you do that, or you can go to social media to just post for your brand, to share your messaging and do it consciously if that's the necessity. Like I left social media last year in April and I never looked back. And I feel like I gained so much clarity and space, like mind space to think
Yeah.
about things. And I feel like thanks to that, brands came to me so that I could consult them, because otherwise I wouldn't have time and energy to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so that's a no-brainer to me. Like, clear the space.
I love that.
Then, second level, remove all the people who don't bring joy in your life. You know, the guys who like, you know, ask you out occasionally. You know, like out of the blue. No, not worth it.
Yeah.
They don't deserve your light.
Yeah.
Stay away from them.
Yeah.
They should stay away from you. No. You know, so just remove all these girlfriends who like to gossip and chit chat, because, you know, listening to gossip is actually not good too.
It's not.
Completely removing all of it.
Yeah.
You know, I would say cleansing the space where you live in. Like, you know, like this place is very cozy and nice. You keep nice things. It smells good. So creating this space where you relax, nice, soft lights, all of it. It actually helps us to relax. Our home is our temple,
Yeah.
pretty much. Sleep. It's so important.
Yeah.
Especially for women, for our hormonal system. Like, we cannot underestimate sleep. I know we all sacrifice it, but very often, why? Because we go on social media. And
I was gonna say, I assume if we remove the noise, we get better sleep.
Oh, 100%.
seriously, like, if you put your phone down at like 7 or 8 p.m. when you're done with your work and you know that like nobody is going to call you or send you an important email, and just be with yourself, read a book, be with your partner, you'll feel much better. It's hard. It takes discipline. It's hard. I didn't say it's going to be easy.
Right, yeah.
But I feel like all these little things, they bring peace. And of course, for Ayurveda, food is medicine. Whatever you consume can heal you or hurt you. They don't take pills. They don't take chemicals. They only use herbs and whatever nature provides. We were given everything that we need to have a healthy life within ourselves or within the nature. We don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Truly. So yeah, just changing the diet, removing, all those things that we know are not good,
Yeah.
also will help a lot.
Those are beautiful. This has been such a beautiful episode. Thank you
know.
so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom. You've 100% inspired me today. And I know all of our listeners, it's mainly women. This is a women-targeted podcast. We're not afraid to say that. I think they'll be really moved by this conversation. So we really are so grateful to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me. You do an amazing job, and thanks for allowing me to share what I know.
Of course.
So you have Luna Leila coming soon.
Yes.
In 2025.
Yes.
So people can keep an eye out that it will be available for sale online. I'm assuming you can
On the
share a little
website,
bit
yes,
where people
in Kabbalah
can.
So first, it's online. We do a couple of partnerships with other brands.
Okay, great.
To help us reach the audience.
Yeah.
Which are also women.
Yeah.
Clearly. And we are talking to a couple of retail stores that are also going to sell our
Amazing.
underwear. Yes, definitely we can put some links in the description and update it
Yes.
as I go
Of
and as I
course,
grow the
of
brand.
course.
Yes.
And then so we can buy some.
Yes.
So we can start.
I'm so excited now.
I'm like, I want to live a natural life.
Yeah.
Great healthy products.
Absolutely.
gonna
We have
go
to
home.
ask our final question.
Well, yes. So we always end our episodes with a practical tool or tip that we can give our listeners that can actually make a change in their life, and we call it their homework assignment. So what is one homework assignment that our listeners can do this week? A practical tool or tip that they can implement into their lives this week.
Anything you want can be about anything.
It can be like, go for a walk, whatever you want.
Come up with a simple affirmation, and just that maybe that's something that's struggling in your life. Maybe it's something at work, your doubts about you being able to make the right decisions, or maybe you not feeling confident that you deserve true love and beautiful relationship, whatever that is. Come up with your affirmation, like, I always make the right decisions. I always make the right decisions. And even if you feel crappy and don't feel like it, just keep repeating it. I always make the right decisions. Just come up with your affirmation and repeat it throughout the day. Every time you have this, mental space, availability to
Yeah.
think it, you just think it.
I love that.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you so much, Leila.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Ciao, bye.
Ciao.